Alright, folks, so I'm sitting here waiting for something to happen and I got a little bit of time to talk. So, roughly 2 years ago, I moved to Marysville, and I could not believe the rampant and out of control crime and the blatant disregard for citizens that, a lot of these vagrant street criminals had. I'm not talking about the homeless community as a whole, there's good and there's bad. So, the first time I called the cops, there was somebody up front downstairs and they were trying to break in. Now, we're pretty in tune to this kind of stuff. I asked them, hey, please don't break in. Please knock that off. Well, they stopped trying to break in, at that point. They basically were just trying to rest there, according to them. And, I had every right to be on private property and blocking a fire exit, etc. Not like they were going to try to break in, as soon as we stopped paying attention or something. Anyway, so I called the cops. The cops told me it would be somewhere between an hour and 2 hours, with the PD being down the street, that they were very busy on an accident scene. I go, isn't that something you guys should call CHP for? If you've got crime to take care of in the town? Oh, that isn't the way it works, Mr. Cross. There's a couple more incidences, where I called. At this point, I'm being nice. I'm not making videos. I'm not posting negative stuff on social media. Cops are doing nothing. At this point, I've had my concerns validated that basically the cops were not doing their job and seemed to always have cop cars at the station, which we find out, year later or so. They were busy banging each other at the station, too busy to work. Who doesn't want to get paid to bang instead of work? Anyway, so I reached out to Chief Sachs. I believe it was on Facebook Messenger, and I go, hey, we need to talk about this out of control crime and some of the citizens concerned. Now, I had two vehicles. I had this one, which either was I think it was in the shop, and I had a Cadillac. It didn't matter how much I put into that damn thing. I think it finally ended up being the computer component or the evaporator canister, where the gas tank is what I had it narrowed down to. But I had dumped a lot of damn money into this car, trying to get it to pass smog and get the check engine light to go off. So I took it to shops, all kinds of shit, friends, who are better mechanics than most shops have. Did everything I could. A couple of days after I send Chief Sachs, of course I get no response. He tows my car with expired tags. Now, hey, you know what? I don't expect any favors, but, that was his answer to it. So then I started posting negative stuff about Marysville PD. Basically, I believe either that day or later. I filmed the whole thing. I think it's probably on this channel, maybe. So, in any case, well, what I'm waiting for showed up. Well, if you watch the YouTube channel and follow social media, you'll definitely see how things have transpired. If I were to just let this go and have taken the deal, the problem with that is Marysville showed their hand of corruption so much that night, the PD did. I had no way to describe it until somebody reminded me of a great movie. It was like something you would see the dirty cops do on Training Day. And if I were to let that happen and not fight back like I have, how many of them would do it to you for being far less abrasive than myself, just to silence you so they can keep doing their dirtiness unimpeded? How far will they take it if I didn't fight back when it came to me and my loved ones and their retribution because they don't want to fucking work for their money? Most of them never had a job in the private sector. Food for thought. So in closing, now many of you know, like myself, Marysville PD has operated crookedly, corruptly, selflessly, and fucked for the better part of 50 years. They've had this terrible, terrible reputation. And they've gone to just commit more and more and more crimes as time goes on, ladies and gentlemen. Now, I mean, the ex-chief of police was getting away with rape and murder. Still is at this point. So when is enough enough, folks? When is enough enough? Well, now is as good of a time as any. I can tell you I'm not going to back down. They're going to continue to try to harass me and intimidate me. They've got a lot more to lose than I do. I mean, a lot of them are able to retire who were the super troubled people there at that PD, the chief himself. They could simply retire. What's going to happen if we let this continue and your kid inherits your home because something happens to you unexpectedly? An old Chief Ballsacks, you know, allegedly having thousands of white-collar crimes under his belt, like title jumping, you know, maybe some fraud, elderly abuse. What's going to stop them from abusing this blight ordinance and taking a piece of property that you've left your child that they've already got to pay so much tax on? What will they do to them? What if you're in the same position as me and you spoke up for yourself and your family and you have an accident, something totally out of your control, and they can swoop in and do exactly what they did to me to you? Enough is enough. Especially when this city now gets something like, you know, $5 million a year off of this Measure C/Renew as Measure G money. Pathetic. Not one council in nearly 50 years has had the fucking balls to stand up to some corrupt cops with as much, if not more, to lose than they do. So much for serving us, politicians. Something to think about.